Hey, folks, it's my turn to be a part of the Voices of Calm. I certainly thank Adam Barr for this opportunity. It's going to be fun as we get through this coronavirus issue and this adventure we're having. This book is Hailstorm. It's a Wyatt storm thriller by W.L. Ripley. It's a book one. I did it a couple of years ago. I begun book two today, so I wanted to give you a little taste of book one. And we'll see. It's been a while since I've done this one, so here we go. Be patient, and hope you like my hat. The afternoon sun hung like a bruised peach in the autumn sky when I stepped over the sagging rusted fence into the biggest marijuana field I'd ever seen. It was enormous, a field of 1,000 hazy daydreams stretching like a Kansas cornfield and disappearing into the tree-lined ridge rising up behind it. A breeze from the west washed across my neck and by my face, rustling the spiked plants. Golden orange leaves from the overhead trees drifted and danced, then settled among the green cannabis stalks. It was the deer, killed and butchered, that had brought me here. I had been bow hunting the public use land of the Missouri Ozarks when I discovered the dead buck. Its antlers had been sawed off at the base of the skull and removed, the carcass left to rot. 200 pounds of wasted meat. It was a fresh kill. The wet sheen of scarlet blood glistened against the dull fur. It smelled like a fistful of dirty pennies. There were 5 bullet entries, 3 in the gut. Smell of dirty pennies and 3 in the gut. Gun season was still a month away. A poacher. The ground around the corpse was fouled with man prints, smooth-soled boots heading east, deeper into the timber. I followed them. As I did, I nocked an arrow and secured the arrow's shaft with the flexible holder on the compound bow. I wanted to find the man who would kill a buck for its rack and then leave it to rot. Wanted to look at him. See what kind of man would do that. Maybe shake him a little. I slipped through the October woods, the damp soil soft under my boots. Smelled the heavy aroma of decaying leaves. I found one of those miniature liquor bottles like the airlines serve. Jim Beam. Found a cigarette butt. Marlboro Light. Drinks whiskey, smokes cigarettes, litters the countryside, and shoots deer for kicks. Had to be a real man. I crossed a creek that cut like a vein through the forest, while the sun pulsed and spat yellow-orange rays through the crooked fingers of the timber. Shadows reached for me. A squirrel skittered through the leaves, then scampered up a tree, his claws clicking and scraping against the bark. He sat on a limb, chattering excitedly, scolding me. 2 hours of light left. I crossed the brown-crusted fence and saw the marijuana then. The stalks were head high, enough grass to keep Paradise County blurred and mellow for a month. There was raw stubble for a few rows where the plants had been harvested. I was 3 miles in, and most hunters wouldn't come this far before turning back. Besides, this area didn't get much traffic until the November gun season, by which time the crop would be gone and rolled into zigzag papers. I stepped into the stubble. On one side of the field was a small garbage pile of Miller beer cans, Maxwell House coffee cans, various tins from bean soups and other canned items. The gray, speckled blackness of an old campfire spotted the edge of the field like a scab. Thoughtful of them to bring garbage. Made it more like civilization. Just bring your own. From the amount of debris, it looked as if several men tended the crop. There were more cigarette butts, none of which looked fresh. I heard a rustling noise in the marijuana stalks. Another deer. Or the poacher. Then I heard something I'd never heard in the woods. A sound that sent an electric chill along the back of my neck. I was gripped by an ancient, paralyzing fear, older than bullets and steel. It was the low, guttural snarl of carnivore, an animal rumble followed by the quickening whisper of slapping weeds, getting closer, coming toward me. I saw the low shadow first, then the black triangle face and red mouth appeared through the spiked plants. There are few terrors to equal that caused by a huge hound, especially let me go back. There are few terrors to equal that caused by a huge hound, especially a Doberman pinscher. The lean, black body and viper-like head are the child nightmares of fiendish monsters and shadowy terrors grabbing at you out of the night. Fetid breath and dripping yellow fangs, snapping and tearing at you. Years ago in Vietnam, a Saigon pimp had burned a couple of Marines, had his girl roll them. One of the Marines was a dog handler for the military police. I was on a 3-day pass when I came across the pimp, lying in a heap of garbage, flies buzzing around his torn throat. The wound was raw and turning brown like bad meat. Around the wound the skin was purple, and a flap of shredded dermis hung open like a leather pocket with bad stitching. His eyes were swollen, with the whites showing around the dark brown irises. A look of terror in them like I'd never seen, and I'd seen too much by that point in the war. A disturbing picture I had never fully shaken. One more memory of Vietnam I didn't need. The hound snarled, then flattened out in a dead run across the stubble. No tree close enough to climb before he was on me. When the black predator was 15 yards away and closing, I sighted, allowed for his approach, and released a fluted arrow. And that's part of Hailstorm by W.L. Ripley. You guys stay inside. Wash your hands. Be good to each other. And we'll see you later.